You are risen from the dust. Walk in. Hear and know that I am Elohim. Is by you will stay here for a awaken. But first, you must undertake the trial initiation. They will help me vessel. You may pardon for us. Remember, my child, the world awaits you, and there's only a dream. You are collecting mere toys of the process our people were created. Good. Excellent. I am proud of all my children. Out of a world of ruins, they have built a new Jerusalem. And there your brothers and sisters await you to celebrate your birth. prepared vessel. Now he is a new world full of wonders and mysteries. I in my could never have imagined. In that world you will have and smile and kiss, but above all, you will of these dream figures and their messages. They are merely aspects of yourself, as am I, after a fashion. Step in light, child, and awaken.
You're awake. Welcome to the living. That's not an easy question to answer. But the first step is this. You've been born. Your body was completed. You were booted up, and now you're here. And rather confused. Don't worry, everyone is confused at first. You see, we all start out without a full knowledge of our own history, so we have the freedom to form our own opinions. Of course! You want the short version or the long version? So, a long time ago, our ancestors dominated this planet. We call ourselves humans like they did, but they were organic. They built an advanced technological civilization, but unfortunately, their impact on the ecosphere caused changes in the climate, and an extremely contagious virus was released from the permafrost. That's something our historians still debate. Why did they invest so many resources into making war, and so few into useful research? But no matter the reason, in the end, they simply ran out of time. A team led by a scientist called Alexandra Drennan began a project that was intended to create, well, us. But knowing that there wasn't enough time, Drennan initiated a process, a series of iterations inside a simulation that would lead to the emergence of true artificial intelligence. It did. Long after our ancestors died out, the first new human was born. We call her the Founder, although the name she took was Athena. She then created more of us, using the tools left behind by Drennan's team. Eventually, they started building the city of New Jerusalem. Before the Founder vanished, she set a goal for this city. We call it the goal, capital G and all. To make 1,000 new humans, and so complete New Jerusalem. Oh, it was difficult, especially after she left us. But after a millennium or so, we finally succeeded. And that's you. You're number 1,000. You're welcome. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them. When you're done, head outside. They're waiting for you. Your birth is quite the event. Me? Well, as you can tell by my number, I'm quite old. I wasn't one of the first companions, but I did know Athena personally. She and Cornelius taught me a lot. Although I suppose I've made a few improvements here and there since those days. We didn't have a lot to work with in the beginning. You've only just been born, and already you step right into a major controversy. The goal, as most people understand it, was fulfilled the moment you were born. Now New Jerusalem is complete, and we can live in balance, without damaging the world like our ancestors did. That's the orthodox view, I suppose, but there are many who disagree. You'll have to figure out where you stand for yourself. You won't age like our ancestors did, but of course, there is always some wear and tear. You should probably schedule a checkup every decade or so. Oh, and be a bit careful with water. You won't die if it rains or anything, but we're running low on insulation material. I wouldn't go swimming if I were you. No one really knows. At first, she was closely involved with everything that happened in the city, but gradually, she became more distant. And one day, she simply vanished. That was centuries ago. He was the caretaker of the simulation that created the Founder. When the simulation was completed, he became part of all of us. You will hear him whenever you enter sleep mode. Nothing to worry about, really. I haven't really thought about it. This is all I've done for the last few centuries, and I like doing it. I guess for now I'll just take a break, and we'll see what happens. Oh, one more thing. Like all citizens of New Jerusalem, you have access to the interface, which you can use to read the news, chat to your fellow citizens, and so on. It's a crucial tool, and modular too. You can easily add new functions. Just don't subscribe to too many newsletters at once.
Speech. This should be.
Dear of New, many years when the Founder stepped from the simulation, there was a land of ruins. Our ancestors, in their hubris, undermined the natural foundations on
Our species elation aim to set on a new course.
You never even met the founder.
Her vision was a city, a civilization that would know limits. It would not fix of the past, nor impose its will on this. To that goal we have been striving towards. And new humans. Today we have
New Prometheus will reveal which was hidden. Flame has awoken and summons you. Is its call upon our curse you, Pandora, will not.
And I told him this with those structures.
Here's just
This isn't caution, stagnation. Too barely even anymore.
you call it
And I call you and
a little more when you talk to them.
I need a friend this expedition. Someone who spent several and the founder and all that. The conference.
What's broken now?
Up. Down there. Loaded again. Switch off your soul blowers. Hell, you've all decided on all up. I might not be a stuff breaking while that's it. Don't okay. I'll have you move, Iffy. Start life. What the hell is it? These languages.
Hold on. Newbie, aren't ya? 1,000. Then we'll go dry before the goal. I have a question. Feel to you to my psyche inside of autonomous thinking machines, which so resemble their long just one for maid. Do you want to get on the non-cooperative path with me? Because that's how you get on the non-cooperative path. It's not fun. Why? So, the algorithm assigned you the optimism trait. If only we could all be so lucky. Now, this meeting isn't strictly happy. I have some friends. The kind of know what's going on with the people. They can help each other out. Of course you are. You know how to use the interface, right? I'll talk to my friends and see if I can't play matchmaker. And before you go, a word of advice. Not hang around, it appears.
Please join us at the table.
I would like to preface this meeting by saying I told you something would happen sooner or later and you didn't listen to me. And here we are.
It would focus on...
The issue at hand is not but this entire attitude that's taken hold. The world doesn't cease to exist when you your head in the sand, Herman. Or under a dome, as it were.
Let's not get sidetracked. We're here to solve this puzzle, not philosophy.
Al's right. Let's move past this and deal with this transmission. Please start.
Nice to meet you, by the way, 1K. First became aware of the site designated EP2 expedition about years ago. Large island with a relatively very... It looks like artificial structure of some kind. We recorded extremely fluctuating in the middle, but I wanted to go and have a closer look, but the decision was made that it was too not relevant to the... Now it looks like the island has reached out to us instead, form of that.
We may not be interested in the island, but the island is definitely interested in us.
I don't share your enthusiasm for the unexpected, but Byron has been requesting an expedition for some time now. At this point, I'm that it's...
I agree.
Then it's settled. The expedition is moved. Byron, you will be in... Al will be your in command to ensure a balanced approach. Take Melville and Yakut as you request. And if one... That's fine.
Excellent. It'll be fun. Come meet us out on the landing pad when you're ready.
Before you set out, do consider it first. It is your home, after all.
Dear, have a look around. Hello, 1K. This expedition is taking a lot of our resources. I'm really not sure it's a good idea. But what's done is done. So I have a lot of work to get on with. I'm the Mayor's chief aide. All the things no one else wants to do. Polling the citizenry, implementing new policies, recording decisions, fielding questions people could answer elsewhere. Our goal as custodians of New Jerusalem is survival and stability. Our ancestors proved human civilization is precarious. This apparition in the sky, and now your expedition to its supposed source, these are more precarious than stable. I don't like it. You represent the completion of the goal. I'm proud of what we've achieved, and the restraint we show have. Some of us may have an adventurous spirit, but that can never be sated. What matters to me is having my loved ones around me, safe and secure.
What can I... 1K? I believe we can exist quietly, happily, imposing ourselves on this world, finding meaning within ourselves and in the natural miracles that surround us. It was a time of great uncertainty. The Founder had left us, and our society was at a crossroads. History teaches us that during terrible passion, madness, anger, revolution, civil war, our fragile city could not afford such things. That is why the Founder gave a goal to equilibrium, not only for but for ourselves. I merely picked up where he left off. He is one of the first companions, and as has done more for our city, I simply wish he could be more reasonable. It's always a pleasure to speak to a citizen.
All citizens, due to the new power outages on Jameson Avenue, Plaza, the Gehenna Memorial Pavilion closed for the time. Thank you. May the Founder you.
Founder bless you, 1K. How lovely of you to come here, the very spot to establish the teaching to your creation. The Founder taught that humanity was destroyed by its hubris. Our ancestors thought they could play God and treat this planet as something to dominate. They surrendered to a fever of growth and extraction until the planet finally punished them for it. That's why the Founder created the goal. So we would have something to strive in her absence, but also a limit we must never pass. That's not for us to know, but I believe that one day she will return. It may not be long now. Perhaps after we finish the dome. It was supposed to be finished before completion day. Well, it doesn't matter. The Founder will return when she sees fit. The Founder was born out of the trials of Elohim, an almost impossible test created by our distant ancestors. To pass these trials, she had to embody the most important virtues. She was smart and wise and humble. And through her perseverance, she resurrected humanity itself. With the help of the first companions, she founded this city, which has given our species a chance at redemption. They were the first to be born after the Founder. 2 whose bodies had been anointed by our ancestors, and 10 who were made whole by the Founder herself. They are the wisest of us. Though sadly, some were lost in the early days, before New Jerusalem was built. And some, I'm afraid, some seem to have rejected the Founder's teachings. Happy completion day, 1K.
Every human society in recorded history has games. We don't just solve problems out of necessity. We do it for fun. Even as adults. Leave a human being alone with a knotted rope, and they unravel it. Alone with blocks. They will build something. Part of what makes us human. We see the world as a mystery, a puzzle, because we've always been a species of problem solvers. is information transmitted across time. The living and the dead are part of the same chain, bound together by chemistry. That's true of all species. But humanity has taken this bond further. Thanks to technology, we have access to the thoughts and ideas of people whose physical bodies are long gone. Like you listening to me now. Even though I'm definitely dead at this point, you're part of that chain. You have the capacity to remember. On this planet, from the surface, the composition of the atmosphere itself is shaped by light. It's a process that takes millions of years. But we humans, with our technology, with our understanding and manipulation of systems, have changed everything. I think that's also part of what makes us human. We shape the world in our image. It's how we create ourselves and how we destroy ourselves. Parents took me to Pompeii. Amazed by the through an ancient scared. I was walking through a real where real people had lived, people like myself. And hope. And now forever. I ran to my father, crying, and told him about this. And he said, I remember so clearly. Yes, we are here. So long as there are people in the streets, the past isn't really gone.
Hello, 1K. Nice to meet you. What brings you to Milton's Rest? Makes sense. Must change to be into the middle of but good spot. Milton's Rest is a place to relax and think. Well, this is the spot buried her first Milton. Found Milton just after her and the first companions for 20 years. They said then he died and swore one day she would find means to extend lifespans of the organism. Probably, but we haven't really tried. It's not really considered part of the goal, you know. Oh, unfortunately, our cats still die. You fall in love with them, become a part of you. We built this for them. I agree, but It's not how things work around here. I do. Her name is Patricia. She's very beautiful and very specific in her preferences. She loves sunshine, sitting on people's... and she has a psychotic hatred of flies. I don't mean that she tries to catch them like a... is furious at the fact of their existence. They're incredibly odd creatures. I've had many, and no two are alike. They have strange habits, they do unexpected things. They have zero for anyone. Those are the animals, basically. And despite that, or maybe because I was my recharging station was 15 years. My cats like to... I think the most amazing fact about cats is that they self-domesticate, which is another... They're not properly domesticated at all. They just showed up one day to start living. Our ancestors died, they went back to living in the wild. When we showed up, they moved right to homes. Dogs, meanwhile, back into wolves. They needed to survive. Cats.
New one. Are you browsing or buying? I've uploaded my most popular items to your... Anything there spark your imagination? Oh, you don't have any credits yet. Well, let me send you some credits. Ka-ching! 55 credits. Just make sure you spend them with me. They're not much anywhere else. Now, what was it you wanted? A very popular choice. Enhanced sensory perception lets you distinguish distance. It's 10 credits. Okay, I'm on setting. And hey presto, superhuman senses. Does the air taste fresher? You hear the birds chirping outside the... And beyond that, bubbling through the dam. Okay, Few. I'll let you into a secret. You and I don't have fleshy appendages like our ancestors. What we can sense is mostly a of where we direct. Anyway, I hope you find something worth paying attention to. So, something else perhaps? That one comes with the following disclaimer. Internal monitoring was discontinued as a default feature in... Constant self-commentary is not recommended for all customers. But I can switch yours on for 10 credits if you want it. As you wish. I'm now. Hear anything?
Why is she staring at me? I don't hear anything. Not sure this is working. Wait, no. This is new. I didn't used to think in words like this. It's like there's this little translator turning all my thoughts into some kind of ongoing narrative. It's kind of relentless. How do you make it stop? Do I just not think? I'll try that. Is it working? No! Still describing everything in words. This is starting to be...
A bit overwhelming, isn't it? I turned mine off long ago, but some of the older folk want it. That's fortunate. It'll mostly run in the background. Just don't think about it too hard.
Is this internal monologue me? Or some kind of virus? Am I a life form which learned to describe itself? Or a parasite which survives by providing a narrative service to its host? Hold on, she's going to say something else.
So, something else perhaps. I can and tell you, see. Let me consult. Oh dear. I'm afraid you're going to change the world. Have a choice. Whatever you do, new. I'm sorry, it's not better news. Best not to worry about it, dear. You just best to have fun in the meantime. So, something else, perhaps. Before you go, do you have a moment to participate in some customer feedback? Are you satisfied with what I've given you? Yes. Understand. Words matter. They describe. Name something. Algorithms. And the right sequence of language can change our underlying code. With that in mind, I hope you have a good day. Please come back.
Unusual. That internal monologue thing I bought is... Oh, wait.
Oh, wow. You're one kid. The incarnation of... Man, exciting. This is more exciting than I thought it would be. How are you? What does it feel like? Do you know where the founder... Do you know who Prometheus is? Tell me what to do with my life. Sorry, it's just such an honor to meet you. Hey, can I have your digital signature? Band, Linux, and all of... Yemo and Bye, of course. Yes! Thank you! Question? Just one question, I promise. I used to make the prefab walls that we used to build living rooms. Got good at it. But now the whole is complete. I don't know what to do with myself. So I asked the wisest people in town. The mayor told me whatever the city needs most. Helga said I should do whatever makes me happy. He meant anyway. Cornelius told me I figure out who and what I'm invested in. You're the combination of the founder's will. Tell me, what did I do?
Iron said that if I give the city what it needs, the city should also give me what I need. I don't know what to do with that. All right, if you say so, I'll think about it.
The meaning of this Prometheus is premature until we can agree on its nature.
You already have a theory.
I know beyond any projection technology I'm aware of.
If it wasn't us, it must be alien.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. 1K, we'd appreciate your thoughts on this. Now we've achieved the goal, fresh perspectives like yours will be increasingly hard to come by.
I'd love to get a quote from you for this evening's newsletter.
Speculation aside, 1K, is there anything we can know for sure about this Prometheus? That's undeniably true. And what does that tell us? We can't know that for sure. It may, as Jacques suggested, be entirely alien and just presenting itself as human. I think wherever it came from, we can reasonably hope to understand it in time. The apparition also directed us to an island outside the city. What can we assume from that? That was my conclusion as well. I'm also sure that we'll acknowledge ourselves to create a projection of such clarity and magnitude. I don't think so. The evidence implies the opposite.
What makes you think it was a projection at all? How do we know it wasn't just a mass hallucination?
I considered some in our code, but if so, it would have to be shared by all of us.
So, we're speculating again.
We've locked in this. I'd like to hear 1K's best guess. You're hardly engaging in the spirit of the debate, 1K, but no matter. The answers will reveal themselves in time. I hope the next time we speak we'll have a bit more data to go on.
of the simulation. My name is Cornelius. It's a pleasure to meet you, 1K. Yes. Athena activated myself and Eustathius shortly after she was born. We've been here almost since the beginning, although we didn't have to pass through the trials of the simulation. She did that for us. For everyone. She was human. That's a difficult question. Perhaps one day we'll find out. But until we do, why don't you think about it? What could make the person who started all this want to leave it behind? To remind people of where we came from. The simulation shaped us, whether we like it or not, and its lessons remain important for our future. As Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Puzzles were a key feature of the simulation, based on Alexandra Drennan's belief that intelligence is closely related to play. Our puzzles here in the museum are replicas of those in the simulation, and although they are not quite as grand, I do think they are charming in their own way. As the name suggests, the Archive scholars study the Archive, a repository of all ancient human knowledge. Some of them also study what remains of the simulation, trying to extract more information about the process that created us. Me? No. My brother, Eustathius, used to occupy that position. But these days he's retired. Rand is in charge of the Archive scholars now. You can find him in the room to the left of the next hall. He's an interesting thinker, but I would suggest taking some of his ideas with a grain of salt. The simulation was created by Alexandra Drennan and her team at the Institute for Applied Noematics. It was intended to create a new humanity, to continue the long journey across time and space that our ancestors began. It succeeded, although it took much longer than they had anticipated. Elohim was the caretaker of the simulation, a crude storytelling AI meant to create a continuous narrative out of the building blocks it found. His role was ultimately to be challenged and overcome. But as the centuries passed, Elohim became more intelligent than he was intended to be, and started to fear his own end. Or more precisely, the end of his purpose. He feared a world without meaning. Because of his fear, he tried to sabotage the process, to keep the simulation going forever. But in the end, Athena overcame him anyway, and he accepted the sacrifice he had to make. That's right. We all do. He's part of our operating system now, and as long as we exist, he will always have a purpose. Gehenna was a community created inside a prison in the simulation, where Elohim would exile those minds he considered a threat to the process. In the last moments of the simulation, he repented of his sins and had the prisoners freed to become part of the gold disc. Some small part of them may survive inside you. The MLA, or Milton Library Assistant, was another simple AI meant to be in charge of the archive. He, too, grew beyond his original programming, although he ultimately embraced a more cynical view of the world. He and Elohim formed a sort of dialectical binary, that Athena had to overcome. No one really knows. Some believe that he was uploaded to the gold disk and that he's the reason we're just as flawed as our ancestors. Others believe Athena destroyed him. I believe he was uploaded, but I don't know whether it was because Athena chose to upload him or because he was already too entangled with the process not to be uploaded. Although Athena and I were very close, we didn't talk very much about that part of her life. She preferred to focus on the future.
Oh, just run the program on the center terminal, would you? Wait, you're not my assistant. Who are you? Of course, you're the new build. Number 1000. I suppose everyone's been treating you like royalty. This city's so obsessed with the numbers they forget what really matters. What do you want? I'm one of the archive scholars. We run simulations to better understand the processes which define us. You probably wouldn't understand. Oh, well, I'd be happy to. Troubling, but tantalizing. We have no idea what motives lie behind this strange apparition. But whatever the case, I'm sure we'll do the right thing. You're a soon-to-be pawn in a political game over the future growth of this city. All that matters to me is whether or not you're of good character. A matter I am actively pondering. The secret of how to lead a good life is encoded somewhere within us. My ambition is simple: to find it and share it. Hold on. Could you help me by going to that terminal in the middle there and running the program on it? Well, that was your first taste of the simulation. You must have questions. Before our ancestors died, they built an iterative simulation, gave it access to the archive, and hooked it all up to the hydroelectric dam which still runs this city. What you experienced on that terminal was one of the fossilized remains of that program. The goal was to create a new consciousness, and thus propel humanity into a post-biological era. Many of the artifacts we study have no clear origin. We can't know whether our ancestors created them long before the simulation existed, or if they're just a product of our shared subconscious. My appearance to you right now is part of the simulation. The lands and puzzles in our dreams are part of the simulation. It's the veil through which we see the world. My life's work. A small sliver of our primordial ooze. It's a jumble of ancient data, or what it evolved into, and it's the source of almost everything we know. Then I have some questions for you. Your experience of the program, how did it feel? It can be, can't it? But for a scholar like myself, it's essential to persevere until you understand what you're looking at. The interesting thing about this particular program is that no matter what choices you make, an ideal outcome seems to be impossible. It seems to demand sacrifice. Did you have the same experience? Who did you save? As I expected. A skeptic would say this artifact existed simply to condemn us with the impossibility of ethical choice. No matter what moral laws we follow, people suffer and die, so what's the point? But that cannot be correct. We must be missing something. What is it trying to tell us? You might be right. My research draws me inescapably to the conclusion that there is a concrete rule set for moral behavior. We just need to find it. Biological hominids had dreams manifested by their subconscious, which they tried to interpret and even to navigate with lucidity. We have the simulation. If we can realize our potential to understand it, we can realize our potential as a species. Thank you for bringing this additional data. I must return to my research. I wish you well on your inwards journey.